So, right now is our last moments with Meatloaf. He's in pretty bad shape. And we brought him in last night, and they did a chest X-ray and all that, and they found out that he had like all these nodules. So he had a tumor on his leg. That's what's caused the inflammation. Kind of sucks that the other vet didn't catch that, because we just thought it was a bite. But the other vet that we went to last night, because I went to 2 of them last night, 2 emergency cares, and they're like, oh, that's a tumor. And if there's a tumor on the outside, there's a huge chance there's a tumor on the inside. And so they did a chest X-ray, and there's nodules all over his pelvis, his chest. So like the cancer spread really, really quickly. And he's just been dealing with it this whole freaking time. So he's such a trooper. And we were faced with pretty much two options really. But even out of the 2, one's chemo and one's putting him to sleep, so put him out of pain. But even the doctor was like, if this was my dog, I would just put him down, because how aggressive the cancer is, you're just gonna try to delay him. And even with that, when you start going through chemo, he's still gonna need a transfusion. They're gonna keep poking him. Like, to even get the chemo started is gonna be extremely painful for this guy. So, we're just spending our last moments with the Mr. Meatloaf.
I don't like these blankets, dude.
Yeah, they take care of him here.
Poor baby. He's really not doing good. Oh, dude. Oh, breathing. Oh my god, it hurts, huh? Oh, dude. Oh. I'm so sorry, dude. I wish we could have caught it sooner. Oh. Damn, his breathing is not good. Oh.
Looks like he's smiling a little bit.
I doubt it. Look how he's breathing. It's like he's in so much pain. Oh. Fuck. You guys, I have some really bad news. So I was away in Florida for a week, this past week, and I came home on Wednesday. Everything was fine, normal. Do you guys remember when I had shared with you guys how we took Meatloaf to the vet a week before I ended up going to this seminar? And because he had this swollen foot, took him to the vet, and they tested for venom, and they really couldn't figure out what it was that bit him, because his hind leg was really swollen. So we were assuming maybe a snake had bit him, or a spider. We have a bunch of black widows out here, and those are very venomous, especially to dogs. So when he had that, we tested for that. They couldn't really figure out what it is or what it was that had bit him. Gave him medication, painkillers. He was on all that stuff. The swelling went down. He seemed to have healed, but he was still limping on it a little bit. It looked like it still was hurting him. But we trusted, you know, the vet saying like, that's normal. Just let it heal. Keep giving him his medications. So did that. I went to my retreat, came back, like what I was saying earlier, and things seemed to be normal. I mean, he seemed a little bit more lethargic than normal or than usual. So I kind of upped his walks a little bit more to have him be more with nature and smell different things, and just to kind of run around and exercise a bit. And yeah, he was just laying down more than usual, and he wasn't eating as much as he normally did. But whenever presented with food, he would eat it right away. So we were, or not we, but I was just thinking like, well, maybe it's his dog food. I think I need to change his dog food brand. And yesterday I took him on a walk, just, you know, to let him smell new scents, try a new walking trail. And he just wasn't pulling like he normally likes to, because he's so excited. And when he went to poop, because he loves pooping on walks, I think I think he saves all his poop for walks. I noticed there was blood in his stool, and I'm like, uh-oh, okay, that's really bad. And, you know, I'm trying to think back, like, did you know, when I was here, did we ever eat any chicken or anything with a bone in it that we mistakenly gave him that could have possibly sliced his stomach? And I'm like, no, we didn't have any meats with bone in it. And if we did, we don't give it to them, especially chicken, because I know that cooked chicken, those bones, they become really brittle. And when they chew it, they swallow it, there's a bunch of jagged edges that can possibly slice up their stomach. So I don't give that to them. So there was nothing like that there. We had to go out yesterday to run a few errands, and then when I came back, I looked where he was sleeping because I'm checking in on him, and I noticed that there was blood on the wall where his bed is. Oh man, I'm like, what the hell happened? So I look, and by his tail I see that there's some wet blood still. So I pick up his tail, and lo and behold, he's bleeding out of his anus. Like there's blood coming out of his butthole. So immediately, it was nighttime. At this point, it's probably like 7:30, 8 o'clock. Immediately I tell Bart, you know, I'm so sorry, but this is an emergency. Can we please take him to the vet to see what's going on? And I can't go because I need to put Taika to sleep, and Taika's already cranky. So Bart immediately takes him to a vet near us, and he tells me that you know, they're like, first of all, he's a lot older than where the Humane Society, where you guys adopted him, told you guys. Initially, they had told us that he was 5 or 6, and we were looking for an older dog because we wanted to match the energy of our existing dog when we were trying to adopt. And they go, the vets last night say, actually, he's not 5 or 6, he's more like 8 or 9 years old. Like he's like a senior dog, especially for bigger breeds. They don't live that long. So 8 or 9's already pushing it for him. And he goes, and the reason you can tell when they're 8 or 9 is because around their muzzle, like around their mouth, they start getting a lot of white hairs. And yeah, he already had that, but we just thought that he was just, I don't know, but he has his history, and he acts like an abused dog, and he had that limp when we adopted him. So I just thought he had seen some stuff, you know? Like, I just thought, like, his melancholy way and state of being is just from a rough past. And I never really questioned that he could just be an older dog. Well, that's neither here nor there because whatever, like, I'm not upset with the Humane Society because I get it. You know, it's all strategy to get people to adopt dogs. And I'm like, cool. Like, I don't know if we would have adopted him if he was that old because we know that the lifespan of a larger breed is not that long. So I'm like, hey, whatever it took to get him here, we got him here. But in checking him, that was the first thing they told us. The second thing they said was, yes, he was bleeding from his anus, his butt, but that's not where the main blood that I saw was coming from. He actually had a tumor that bursted on the outside, which means they said usually tumors are in clusters. So if there's some on the outside, there's a high probability that there's some on the inside. So, yeah, so they're like, we're pretty sure he has more tumors. He's an older breed, and we think that he might have cancer. What pointed to that? I think at that point, I just didn't know, or I wasn't really paying attention. But they were like, you know what? We don't want to diagnose this. We can't. They were like, right, we don't do x-rays at this one, so you have to go to one, you know, that's like 40 minutes away from us. So we went to a separate clinic, and they get booked really fast in the morning or something like that. So they were like, how about you guys just leave him with us? And this place was great. Both of these places were so good. They were like, how about you leave him with us? We'll put him first in line so that he can get his x-rays and all this testing done, so we can really understand what's going on with your dog and make sure we approach this with the most information as possible. We're like, okay. So we get a phone call. Bart gets a phone call today, and they say that our poor boy has actually had cancer this whole time, and we didn't even know. Yeah, they think it actually started and it stemmed from his, like, the limping could have been a sign of that. But we've gotten that checked before, and, you know, at a previous vet, which we'll probably never be going back to, because they didn't tell us about the age. They didn't tell us anything, you know, and we've gotten that checked, and they were like, oh, you know, it's just arthritis. And we're like, okay, but this new place was like, no, that's cancer. And at this stage, it's so aggressive that we can put him on chemo, but it's gotten to a point now where we can't stop it. It's so aggressive. So, and considering his age, like, it's just this perfect storm of like bad stuff. So, I think we're gonna go later today to, you know, put him down, because they were just like, yes, we can do all that, but he's not gonna have good quality of life. So we have to go visit him today and just say our goodbyes, and it just happened so fast. And I know for you guys, like, you guys have seen when we brought him home, and you guys have seen how silly and funny and cute he is, and how he's just integrated to our new family dynamic. And yeah, I didn't want to keep you guys in the dark, because I did that with Briggy, and that was me dealing with her thing then, because I just didn't want to think about it. But I didn't want to do that to you guys this time, because I know you guys care so much. Yeah, so I don't know if I'll record him one last time and show you guys my poor little dude, but yeah, that's what happened with my poor little Meatloaf.
gave him a best life, and yeah, we missed it. We don't know what we could have done to have caught it sooner. I don't know, but keep you guys posted, and thank you guys for always loving him and like and loving us.